Speaking of deep cuts, right into that. Cullen, it's been a while since we podcasted together.
I know, too long. I'm very happy to be back.
But Richard's not here, folks. Heather is.
Hello.
Howdy.
And this is Richard. The Kulturecast. I don't put that.
It's weird.
Hey, Richard. Hello.
Hi, guys.
I mean, you just need to dial the energy up like 300x more, and you'll get it. Richard is a ball of fire.
Richard's amazing. I am punchy, so I am not a ball of fire. More like a little sparky ember, though. I think it'll be good. I hope.
Well, on this episode of the Kulturecast, I'm still your host, Chris Stachiw, and you know who's joining me. And on this episode, we're kicking off the month of my birth, which I decided to program myself. So here we are talking about movies that are based off of books that movies are made from. I don't know where the fuck I went. That was a failure on so many options.
I think it failed, but then it looped around and became a great
It failed so hard it succeeded.
There's no fail.
No failure here. We're coming back at it. We're pulling back up and we're trying to land again. We're talking about a movie from 1976, not the remake from 2010. We're talking about The Killer Inside Me.
I got my feet on both sides of the fence. I planted them there a long time ago.
Sometimes I see a look come into your eyes, Lou. I can't explain it. It's like something terrible is happening to you deep down inside.
All I can do is wait until I split right down the middle. Schizophrenia. Acute, advanced, incurable. Don't say I'm not that kind of guy, because you just don't know.
Within the mind of this man, within your mind, lurks an evil, screaming to be set free.
Are you all right?
Stacy Keach in The Killer Inside Me.
So it's directed by Burt Kennedy, written by Ed Mann and Robert Chambly, and it's based off of Jim Thompson's book of the exact same name, Killer Inside Me. This version stars Stacy Keach as Lou Ford, Susan Tyrrell as Joyce Lakeland, and Keenan Wynn as Chester Conway, playing a good old boy. The best of the boys, the good old kind. And in this movie, Stacy Keach plays Lou Ford, the sheriff of a small town who is an actual sociopath at his core being, but he does a really good job at keeping up a facade. But the facade, as it often does, begins to slip. And what happens when it begins to slip? He starts to kill people. So, Heather, I'll kick it to you first. Exposure to the book, exposure to the movie. What are you thinking? What's your thoughts on The Killer Inside Me?
Well, first of all, I'm so excited I get to be a part of this episode because Jim Thompson's a writer I've been familiar with for years and had been wanting to get around to. And so when you had told me about this, planning this month, and there was the list of films and books, and I saw this one and I was like, that's it. This is like the firm kick in the talks. I need to get off my ass and read it. And holy shit, like this. Oh my God, like Jim Thompson. And I already knew a little bit of his work. I mean, if you're a film person, of course, he, worked on the dialogue for Kubrick's The Killing, which is one of my favorite movies ever. He's got a credit on Paths of Glory, which is another one of my favorite Kubrick movies ever, among many, many, many other accolades. But this book, economic yet perfect details as a writer, like he really, as a prose writer, has that sweet spot that I think, is so hard to get. It's almost like writing that it seems deceptively almost simple until you really break it down and it's like, oh, it's a gut punch. It's so good. And I'm glad that we did the 1976 film because, Stacy Keach and Susan Tyrrell, come on. Like we have the core leads of Fat City reunited, two juggernauts, and Stacy Keach cast as Lou Ford. Just seems like perfect casting, and especially because maybe it can like play off somebody having an internal just demon, but also able to kind of convincingly play off like, oh, I'm your local nice guy. I was raised in this town, which is like Lou Ford in the book is all about that. Like he's so intelligent that he knows it's best to put on this mask of like, I'm just kind of this dumb hick that gives you cliches and everybody's like, oh, Lou's a good boy. And it's like, oh, he's good. All right. Like,
He's the best of the boys.
It's brilliant. The book is brilliant. The movie has some issues, which we'll get into, but there are some strengths too, and we can get into those as well. But I don't know. What about you guys? Like, what were your journeys to this?
Yeah, Colin, break it down for me, because I know you've never heard of Jim Thompson before. You're not a book reading guy by trade, right, or anything. No. Complete lies, complete fabrication.
I don't have every one of Jim Thompson's books in the next room. That is a lie. I do, but so I first saw this in 2008. I was co-writing an article for Moving Image Source with Mark Ash on Thompson adaptations. And I think he was the one who, I think Mark was the one who wound up writing about this in the article. That's how we sort of split up the writing duties. But I did see it in 2008, and I remember being a little disappointed at the time. I went back years later, after I became a little more familiar with Stacy Keach and Burt Kennedy, and discovered that I really liked it. I thought it was it's not the most faithful adaptation in terms of text to screen, but I think they actually understand a lot of the underlying issues that Thompson was writing about quite well. And the cast is just incredible, as Heather said. And I did rewatch the Winterbottom movie this afternoon, which was even worse than I can remember. And it's a great example of how if you film a book page for page, you can still royally fuck it up and totally miss the point.
It's also weird to have Casey Affleck in that lead role. Even now, it's weird. Not just the metatextualness of who Casey Affleck is, but
no, I don't like his interpretation of Lou Ford at all. I think it's totally so far removed from Thompson. I think Stacy Keach gets it's supposed to be almost like a little bit of a hammy charm, but like Casey Affleck is just so soft spoken with this.
It's almost like he's already a serial killer. Like there's no facade. It's all an affectation. Like it's like with Stacy Keach, it's a 180. With Casey Affleck, it's just like a step to the side.
So one of the things I loved rereading this book for the podcast is when we first meet Lou Ford, he to borrow something from the What We Do in the Shadows TV show, he almost is described like an energy vampire, because he's talking about how he tells these stories with these really cheesy, corny lines. And when he sees people start to squirm, he just keeps holding on and like making the story go longer and longer because he wants to make these people suffer. And so I don't know, to me, that's missing from Casey Affleck. But I think Stacy Keach kind of has that sense of control of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Also, which I've only seen just like little clips of the Winterbottom one, and just it had an instant like, oh hell no reaction to it, and a large part of that was the main cast, like because I saw like some of the supporting actors, like okay, Elias Koteas in anything is fire, like but
yeah, Billy Pulley, everybody. I'm a Bill Pullman, huge Bill Pullman.
Oh,
fan.
I love Bill Pullman. Yeah, no, same. And honestly, Koteas, if he was a bit younger, I think would have been way better than. I mean, the problem with Casey Affleck is he doesn't have a gravitas about him as an actor that can pull off a Thompson character. There's certain actors that you need to pull off certain writers, in my opinion. And sometimes that's not even like a dig on the specific actor. I remember trying to watch Factotum with Matt Dillon, and I couldn't even get through it. And there are Matt Dillon movies I love that I think Matt Dillon's fucking great. Like, I'm not anti-Matt Dillon, but Matt Dillon as Henry Chinaski, Matt Dillon does not fit a Bukowski character. Like, it's just not him. And that's, and Casey Affleck does look like a criminal not just because of real life reasons, but to me, like, I could buy him. I look at him and be like, he'd be a shitty, preppy gang rapist. I don't see him as a Lou Ford. I mean, like, I see, like, when I think of actors that could pull off Lou Ford, I think of a younger Michael Rooker, who's also Southern, like, and
John Goodman,
a young John Goodman. Charles Napier is honestly who I thought of when I read the book.
Okay.
Like a young Charles Napier, because Napier, Kentucky, That's the other problem with Casey Affleck. Okay, and Chris, you can attest to this to me because you too are Southern. When people that aren't from the South try to do Southern accents, it sounds like fucking hee-haw. Or they kind of try and do the soft-spoken, well, yes, ma'am. Like that. It's awful. It's awful. There's no real, and it's not just a matter of accents. It's like they don't understand the weirdness of the South. There's a weirdness in this region. I mean, and not just the typical redneck bullshit that unfortunately is a factor, but there's something else. It's like you have to understand the region. That's why Tobe Hooper is one of the best horror filmmakers with the Southern region, because he gets it. Casey Affleck, he just looks like a little twerp. Like he just doesn't have that, and then Jessica Alba as Joyce. Are you fucking shitting me?
She's so good though. She's the best part of the movie.
They give her nothing to work with.
No,
I felt bad for her. Like she just got given a horrible part.
But why would you cast her? And I agree, because honestly, I don't think she's that great of an actress, but that's somebody you play to their strengths. Like she's in certain films and she's fine, but her playing this hard bitten backwoods sex worker who has a gun on her, probably to make sure if anybody tries to rape her or kill her, she can get to them first, which obviously doesn't work in her favor. Yeah, spoiler. But Jessica Alba, no. Susan Tyrrell, though, chef's kiss. Susan Tyrrell, if you had I'm a huge fan. I worship at the altar of Susu, but part of the reason why I do is because she delivers. That's an actress that never fails you. And she delivers. In fact, reading old reviews of when this movie originally came out, and it got mixed reviews, but the unanimous praises were for her and Stacy Keach. You cannot deny those two. But Jessica Alba, and that's not, and again, it's like Casey Affleck. Maybe that's not even her fault. It's who cast this? Seriously. That's, Casey Affleck though? Fuck. That's awful. I still, just thinking about it now, I'm just so offended. Look at him.
I could keep going on about what I don't like about it, and I feel like that could become the entire podcast.
It is bad. I do think we should mention though, the one thing that I did find funny about the backlash to that movie, before I talk about my thoughts on the new or the original.
I want to hear it.
They were like, oh, there's a lot of graphic violence towards women.
Did you read the book?
Yes, there sure is. And it's not in any shape, form, or fashion pleasant in the book. And it's not meant to be pleasant on screen, because if you're reveling in it, that says more about you than it does the people watching it.
I think that's what Michael Winterbottom completely gets wrong about the book. Jim Thompson's violence is disturbing, but he doesn't linger over it. And I think that's, probably for some censorship reasons, but I think Burt Kennedy understood, it's make it quick, make it fast. The violence isn't the point. It's sort of the underlying character, and then, the deeper sociological and psychological, resonances. They just up to the violence in the Michael Winterbottom. They linger on it. It's just gross. It's unpleasant. And I just don't think he understands what that book is about at any level. He doesn't understand why Joyce is in the book. He doesn't understand why the kid that gets killed in jail is killed. He doesn't I don't really think he understands that a lot of what Jim Thompson is writing about is how would you put it? It's a sociopathic white male who's a figure of 30 who has power, or, to change and basically kill everybody and change narratives. And when you watch The Winterbottom, all of that sociological and cultural stuff is just absent. It's all about violence.
The scene where Casey Affleck beats Jessica Alba is it's beyond grotesque for no reason. Other than, it's there in the book, so it's got to be here.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you're missing. Yeah, that's what you get from it. You're missing the point. Very much so. And yeah, again, Colin, I love that you mentioned, that's the thing I think that's so brilliant about the book. And there's some strong stuff in the book, but it's done not in some sort of splatterpunk way or, exploitative way either. It's very he gives you enough for you to be oh my God. And then he kind of moves on. But that but that leaves you more with almost, I think, a sinking feeling. If something's almost too gross, and there are things that are extreme in art that I love, like I'm not a prude by any means, but again, it's all in how you do it. And the way that Thompson's able to throw in details, I mean, there were times where I'm like, holy shit, this was 52. This was published in 1952, because there's some strong stuff here, but it's done in a way where it's just like, you're just like, oh, but it's also so real. Like, it's authentic. It's like, that's the world. Like, it wasn't Ozzie and Harriet, which sounds like pat things, but the way a lot of people tend to have nostalgia, people tend to forget, like, yeah, people have always been horrible. Have a day. There's my TED Talk. But people have also been wonderful too. It's duality, but yeah, I mean, but that's hilarious to be offended though. By it's like, it's all. I'd love it if somebody like watches a Ted Bundy, like a movie based on Ted Bundy. Like, he wasn't very nice to women. Cancel.
Yeah. No more Ted.
Ted Bundy's canceled. Yeah, but no, I'm being silly, but yeah. But I think this one, and it's also with the Burt Kennedy version. And Colin, you're actually speaking to something I dug up, because I found 2 different reviews, one of which was newer, but another one was a little more, at least 20 years old. But both of them alluded to there being a strong chance of post-production tampering, which I could believe, because some of it, there's at times there are things that feel uneven and almost like something's missing. Like, especially actually with some of the violence, ironically enough, because like the scene with Joyce where he beats Susan Tyrrell, who's playing Joyce, he just gives her like, and I mean, it's a brutal punch, but that's all we see. And then it's like, oh, we think he killed her. And it's like, I mean, I'm not saying you need to show him like killing somebody, but damn, like is he Thanos over there? Is he Roman Reigns with that Superman punch? Like,
I mean, later in the movie, he does kill Amy with one punch. So
yeah, that confused me even more so. Because at least the punch with Joyce, I mean, she flies across the room. It's like somebody would definitely be concussed by that. But the Amy one, that was, I don't know.
I almost wondered if that's Burt Kennedy coming from 50s Hollywood, where at that time, one punch, someone's down. Maybe they're dead.
That's true. Okay. Yeah,
I just sort of like, cool, Hollywood, old school Hollywood shorthand that's from a different era, that's a bit out of touch with what was actually being made in the 70s. But Burt Kennedy was an older director, not someone that I would ever assume would be a natural fit for Thompson based on writing Bud Bedecker and directing the John Wayne comedies, all of which I like. But
and that's where I come in on this, because again, I have to give some of the credit for this pick to our dear friend Father Malone, who is not here with us this evening, but he sends his kind regards. But he was the one who suggested this book to me last year when I asked him, like, what's something I should read? And he was like, well, you should read The Killer Inside Me. And it's a lot. Book is a lot. The book is intentionally a lot. I mean, it's an overwhelming piece of fiction where you're stuck rattling around inside of Lou Ford's head for 175, 200 pages, and it's there. Nary a ray of sunshine in this narrative, folks. It's brutal and overwhelming, but it's also very, like you guys have both already mentioned, very matter of fact in its presentation, which I really appreciate, because someone like this, if this person existed, which they do, plenty of them exist, plenty of ones out in the open, and ones like Lou Ford, I like that there's no pomp and circumstance to it, like a Dexter, where it's like, oh, he's doing the killing of the bad people and he's righting the wrongs. It's like, no, this guy's just a fuck, like a total fuck. A total sociopathic piece of shit. And this is not a story where you sympathize or even remotely empathize with your, quote, main character, or in another narrative of your hero. He's the villain of the piece. But that's what makes this so, like you mentioned, Heather, it feels like this wasn't written in the 50s. Like, what fucking, like, no, like this is, you could write this now. You could put this out now with a different name and have some read it. When did this come out? Be like, oh, I don't know, like a couple years ago. Because it touches on and talks to and speaks to things that are interesting people right now. Like serial killers, true crime. I mean, the inside of the mind of a serial killer. Like, go on Netflix and see how many of those fucking shows exist. And that's what this is. Like, it's a crime novel, sure. But it's more than that because of the way the story is told in the first person.
What I think is so amazing, I agree with everything you just said, Chris. And what I kept thinking about rereading it this time is, so this is 1952. It was only 5 years earlier that Mickey Spillane wrote I, the Jury, which in hardcover didn't sell all that well, but in paperback just completely revolutionized the paperback industry, and overnight bestseller. And as a result, that led to the creation of like Fawcett making paperback originals. This book was published by Lion, who were one of the followers of Fawcett. They were a smaller outfit, but essentially Jim Thompson is kind of taking the Mike Hammer character, who was a sadistic, misogynist, white male figure of authority, and that's who Lou Ford is. But in Mickey Spillane's world, Mike Hammer is the hero, and I do love the Spillane books for different reasons. But to me, I'm just like, fuck, Thompson is just completely subverting exactly what the mystery crime fiction trend is at the moment with this book. He's giving readers exactly what they loved in Mike Hammer, but instead of pretending that Mike Hammer is a hero, he's saying, this is really who you're reading and lionizing. He's a sick fuck.
Oh man. I almost got chills. I love that, Colin. I didn't even think about that, but that's like so cool. Like what a great like insight into that. And especially because like my take with it was and this is also kind of speaking to what you mentioned, Chris, about it being completely in his head, is that's always to me like such a brave move when a writer or a filmmaker does that, because you're basically denying the reader or viewer any respite. You're denying them to have even a breather from this like darkness. And because think about it, with horror movies and even like some horror literature, sometimes you'll even have almost like slight like a comedic relief scene or something, and to kind of get people relaxed a little bit before you're like, oh wait, now you're back in like the bad zone. And with this book, like Thompson, no, you were stuck with Lou. And it almost like weirdly kind of reminded me of Nabokov's Lolita, because that's a book where you're pretty much stuck with Humbert. And that's not a fun place to be. But there are times where it's like, okay, this guy's he's really intelligent. And with Humbert, sometimes he's even almost kind of funny and charming. And then but then he says something and you're like, oh God, that's right. This guy's a pedophile. Like, it's gross. And which almost makes it more disturbing. And that's the thing, is there are times where like Thompson isn't painting Lou as just a garden variety sociopath and she's like, oh, I'm an evil bastard. Like, no, Lou's a little complicated. He's very complicated, in fact. And I love that. Like, there's an intelligence there, like, to, showing us, like, giving us how we find out and unravel his childhood. And the way that's done is so impactful and so disturbing, but it's like, wow, like Thompson, there's like so much innate intelligence and the sort of understanding of the extremely shadow side of humanity and even ourselves. I mean, that's the kind of always the scariest thing, is that with a certain roll of the dice, anybody could turn out to be a monster.
And I think that Stacy Keach, I mean, the man's size, I think, is what really sells it for me, because he's a big dude. And I'm not saying that in my mind, I didn't imagine Lou Ford as a big dude, but it makes more sense that this guy can come off more jovial and kind of like a little bit of a, country hee-haw dingus. But like, I mean, again, like he says it, like, what's worse than a bore? A corny bore, folks. Like, and it's like, I want everyone to perceive me this way. And like, I perceive Stacy Keach that way in the movie. He does a very believable job at being that kind of Gomer Pyle dope, right? But he could kill you with one punch, apparently. Like, and it doesn't feel, not unearned, but it doesn't feel unrealistic that this guy has a really dark side where he likes, smacking women around. I guess it's the mild way of putting it. Killing people is a better way of putting it, because it escalates. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, the thing I also appreciate about the narrative is we don't just come to it and it's, oh, I'm a killer now. Like, he's like, hey, this is, it's coming again. Like I can feel myself like slipping and I can feel it falling apart and everything kind of falling apart around me. And like, I like seeing that too, that kind of progression downward to the point where he makes the decisions he makes in the book. I don't think the movie makes, the movie makes some decisions with the narrative that I don't think necessarily work very well.
I feel like in the book, he's a little more calculating. In the movie, because we don't have the same access to like his running commentary all the time, there are almost moments where you're like, is Stacy Keach actually normal right now? Is he, what's going on? Like, is he slipping? Did something trigger? Was this premeditated, or is this like an impulse that he couldn't control? And I like that ambiguity, and I think it gives a sense of suspense where you're like, I mean, obviously it's called The Killer Inside Me. He's not going to turn out to be a good guy, and he's not going to not kill somebody. But I like the tension that there are moments where he could you could see him having like a normal life, like it's within reach.
Well, and again, like everybody around him is led to believe that that's what he wants. So they're all, I guess, playing along by accident, right? Because again, he has no intention of ever doing any of these things. I mean, and that's the thing, in the book, you get a better sense of kind of what he's trying to really accomplish. I feel like neither this movie, and obviously the remake is a different story altogether, but neither of these narratives really speak to not why so much in the 76 one, but more of like I guess it is a kind of like a why does he feel like the mask is slipping is made very clear in the book. In the movies, it's like he just starts killing people. Like, it seems less earned in the movie, to me at least.
Seems a little more uncontrolled in the movie,
which isn't the character from the book.
Yeah, there's definitely like it feels truncated in a way. And in some ways it's like, well, if you adapt any book into a movie, you can't, unless the movie's going to be a miniseries. I mean, because even though the book itself isn't like a long book, it's still, if you had all the main details and he did it in a way that's cohesive as a movie, because that's the other trick. And that's kind of like, yeah, even if something's faithful to the book, it doesn't always mean it's going to be a good movie. But yeah, also like Lou's actually more likable in the movie, weirdly enough, despite being a killer. He's like, but part of that I think is also Keach is such a great actor that he's really good at showing the emotional torture in his face, even if like, because some of the details that are super fuzzy, and I don't know if this is because of censorship, but I've noticed in the movie, at least according to its IMDb, so my list is going to vary, but Julie Adams from Creature from the Black Lagoon, by the way. I got so excited. I was like, man, and still Foxy. But she's credited as his mother. But of course, the book, like, he never grew up with his mother. Like, she died when he was a baby. And it's the housekeeper that we found out was basically abusing him and molesting him as a kid, and in a very, very physically violent way, which is, what kind of helped plant the seed for him to turn out the way he did. And that's kind of hinted at in the movie, but it's like in the movie, it's like, it's fuzzy. Like, is that his mother? She doesn't look like a housekeeper, but there's definitely like some Oedipal. But then again, I say that, but the way that, we see those flashbacks is kind of well done for being, it's like, well, maybe they didn't want to go full tilt with that, because you're getting into some super fucking dark territory at this point. And for a movie made by, attached to a studio is the other, because that's the other thing. Because I was thinking of like 70s movies that kind of are crime movies that were willing to kind of go extra, like I would say a little extra dark, but none of them were big studio films or even attached to that. Because like The Candy Snatchers is a film I consider that did that, which is a great movie. Like Hitchhike to Hell, I guess later on, like Maniac, as far as like films that show also like the humanity of it. Anybody can show a crime movie, but can you show the humanity of the monster and be like, that's not a monster at all, that's a man? And that's where to me, that's the real meat of it. And so I guess in that response, the this movie's successful, it just feels like abbreviated.
Well, it feels more abbreviated in the second and third act. The first act feels pretty like close to the book, but it's when we start getting into I wouldn't say the minutia, but the way that they kind of entrap Lou Ford is different in the movie than it is in the book. Because in the book, it's pretty explicit. Like they go in and they're like, hey, we more or less know you're up to no fucking good, dude. Like, and they more or less confront him. In this, it's like the John Carradine character shows up and he's like, so tell me a little bit about yourself. And it's like, get out of here, you spy. And it's like, whoa, like what? 'Cause, again, like, it's a weird way of trying to get us to the same place that the book does a better job of getting us to.
One thing that I kept thinking as I was watching this, something that's really hard about filming this book is that you see it through Lou's eyes. And I guess it's the same problem you have with any unreliable narrators, that can you believe what you're seeing? And at what point do you stop believing what you're reading? And with Lou, there's a sense that he's in control. He's, spinning these stories. People believe him. People like him. But then at the end, you realize, like, okay, they figured this out. He didn't cover his tracks. And it's kind of hard to film that same sort of way, I think, because it's like everything's a little bit objectified because you're seeing it, dramatic. And so I think that's just something that's like really difficult to, bring from the page to the screen, that sense of, at what point does Lou's self-constructed narrative start to fall apart?
Well, and I think to Heather's point, and I think, Cullen, you would probably agree, this is the kind of thing that would be better suited in a television or miniseries application, where you can actually give the audience time to grow and understand Lou Ford as a character. Because, I mean, if you want to do this right, you really need to give the character time to kind of spill out across the screen in every direction, because you need to be kind of all enveloped in the insanity of this character. Because, again, that's what the book feels like. It feels like you're just trapped in his head, listening to him just blah, 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 just go on. And again, that's what makes it so good, is like, it's just never ending with this fucking guy. And, like what it reminded me of is another book that I read last year, which was American Psycho, which is very much just the killer inside me, but for all the yuppies, because it's the same thing. But in that, it's like, well, is any of this happening? And again, there's that bullshit doesn't really apply here, but in the hands of somebody else, it might have been like, how much of this is happening? But that's the thing that I appreciate about this versus American Psycho, is this takes a very hard stance at like, this stuff is happening. This isn't just like him recounting tales of things he may have done. This is like, you're seeing him beat the shit out of people, shoot people point blank, stab them, choke them, kill them. Like, we're seeing it, and it's incontrovertible because the other characters are reacting to it. That's the thing about American Psycho, right? It's like, well, we don't know. He's just saying these things. And like you said, Colin, with an unreliable narrator, that's where you get into trouble. I feel like here they don't get into trouble because that's not what Jim Thompson's interested in. But maybe another storyteller could come to the story and bring a little bit of that, because I think that if you were doing this story now, would be a welcome addition to this story if you were telling it in a maybe more contemporary setting. Because that's the other thing. Could you retell this story in a contemporary setting, or does it have to be in 1952 to work?
I think you could tell it in 2023.
Right. And so that opens up some more avenues where you can do some things with this narrative. But again, for all of the faults of this movie, it does truncate a very somewhat kind of convoluted narrative towards the end. Because again, like the way they're catching him in the book, it's like a lot of things in literature. It doesn't work very well when it's filmed. It's just not as compelling. It just can't be. It just can't be as compelling because it's people talking, but like not in a dialogue way. It's like them kind of expounding way.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Don Stroud's performance as Elmer? Because I feel like Elmer was the character that felt markedly different to me in the film versus how I perceived him in the book.
I love Don Stroud and what he does with that character. He makes him such an asshole that we've all seen before. And hopefully don't have them in our close circle of friends. But just seeing him at, on the job site, he's being a dick to the workers. Then he's at the bar and he's just being a dick to women. And then you see him in jail and he's being a racist prick. It's just like, this guy is just such an ass, and he plays it, turns the dial to 11, to use a cliche, since, Lou Ford, if he had seen Spinal Tap, would probably use that phrase.
He has a perfect shit-eating grin, that Don Stroud, doesn't he? That top teeth smile thing. That is just, it's just like shit-eating grin of shit-eating grin.
But he also, and I think this is him as an actor, at least I feel bad for him, because he's kind of pathetic with how much he actually believes Joyce loves him and how much he believes that Lou is his friend. I just kind of like ached for him, being like, man, I shouldn't feel bad for you, but like, God damn, you're such a dick, but like, these people are playing you, and like, Lou has something even like worse in mind than you could ever imagine. And
see, I felt worse for Elmer in the book, because Elmer in the book does seem just kind of like, it just seems almost more like a little pathetic in a way, like kind of more sad, where, I don't know. I mean, Don Stroud's great in this though, so I definitely have problems, but his Elmer is like, I mean, he basically is like, even when they say no, they really want it. All women want it. And it's like, you know what? Maybe this guy needs to go. Like, it's like, maybe I'm on Team Lou for a second here, because it's like, holy shit, this raping redneck who's also, like you said, racist, harassing, this poor Johnny. And it's like, oh God, but yeah, he does. He does great, and it's like, but yeah, it's like him with Susan Tyrrell. I love it when he gives her the necklace, and he is like such a dumb, horny dog in a way that you're like, he's like, I got you a necklace, and she's just like, oh yeah, yes you did. And he's like asking her to say thank you.
For a second, doesn't even before he says this, it's like, I got something for you, and she thinks it's like a joke about his dick. It's like, yeah, I know, that's what they all say.
Yeah, it's just like, let me finish my coffee.
My girlfriend loved that line. She just cracked up. I mean, she cracked up every time Susan Tyrrell opened her mouth, because Susan is just amazing.
She's so good with her gold painted toenails. I live for this woman. It's almost like, man, like, Joyce is so great. I mean, in some ways she gives Joyce a dignity here that I think if another actress had been booked to play her, because I mean, realistically, Joyce in this film, if we took Susan Tyrrell out of the quotient, is she given a lot of depth without the actress? Probably not. But Susan brings the depth. She brings it, and just like a master, like a mistress, and so great. So yeah, it's like poor Elmer, but at the same time, not poor. It's like, oh.
Well, I think there's more to Joyce's character in this movie than in the book. I mean,
yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I think I think to Heather's point, she's like, because you have an actress who actually has like an interesting look to her and looks already kind of not like just, not the way Tisha Sterling looks. Let's just put it that way. You have something to kind of grab onto, and then Susan Tyrrell doesn't let go. And again, like you mentioned, Heather, like that's the sign of someone who not only knows what they're doing, but has a better grasp of the source material than this kind of deserves. Because again, they give her a lot to do, but in a lot of ways, it's like, I wanted more of this, honestly. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the big things I think we could take away from this automatically is I want another 30 minutes here of this for sure. And also, coincidentally, should bring this up, I would like this to actually get a release that's easy to find.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because on YouTube is fine for everybody right now, being all freebie, and I'm just as glad as everybody else that we can share the magic of streaming through platforms like YouTube, because Indian cinema is all over YouTube. So I can't complain about it. But I can complain that there's no other way to find it than YouTube, because it's like some dude uploaded it to YouTube a couple years ago. Otherwise, we might be talking about that Casey Affleck movie.
Go quickly back to Susan Tyrrell.
Hell yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of moments that were written for her character in this movie that weren't in the book, and everything they add I think is great. Like the scene with her like painting her toenails. as like the introduction, and you just see, you know, Lou Ford just like staring at her feet, and she has such a command of power, and she's like, yeah, blow on them, yeah, kiss my feet. Like, that's not how she's introduced in the book.
No.
And like at that moment, like, goddamn, she has power, she has control over Lou Ford. It's moments like that where it's just like her character, it's like, I believe that she would survive as a like backwoods Texas sex worker. She's got a gun, but she doesn't need it. She's tough. She's dealt with a lot of bullshit. Anyway, I absolutely love the way they, you know, expand her character for the movie. And Chris, to your point, yes, another half hour of Susan Tyrrell. If there's any outtakes, can we just put them in the movie?
Seriously.
Really?
Yeah.
She's great. I mean, and again, like in a lot of ways, her character takes the place of the Amy character, because it feels like the Amy character in the movie is just like a kind of a weird afterthought, which it's fine. But of the two performances, the one that obviously stands out is the Susan Tyrrell performance. Tisha Sterling is fine, but I think that's kind of a character that it seems like maybe they didn't know quite what to do with here, because the couple times between her and Stacy Keach, they don't have a lot of chemistry. And again, like I know that that's kind of the point in a lot of ways, like metatextually, that's the point. It's like, well, they're together, but like realistically, like this guy and her, like no fucking way. But like they don't have a lot of chemistry on screen together, unfortunately. And look, they don't give her much, which is fine, but it's kind of a shame because there's a reason that character is in the book, because it's a integral part of not only the story, but kind of the themes of what the book is getting at. And they kind of miss the boat on that with her in the movie, at least.
It's sort of his cover for being normal. Oh, he's dating the school teacher.
Right. It's his beard in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's with this film's release now, because it looks like at one point somebody put a DVD of it, but the DVD looks bootleg as hell. Like I remember at one point years ago, Walmart used to have like $1 bin, like a $1 bin, and these were all like public domain movies with these horrible, I mean, not even Photoshop, I don't know what you would describe the cut and paste of these covers, but that's what the DVD release of this film looks like, and it's a shame. I mean, at least we do have it on YouTube, and that's definitely how I watched it.
I think that's how we all watched it, probably.
But you can tell, like, there's some great cinematography, but the print, and that's not the YouTuber's fault, but because, like, this is obviously a film that has not been cared for, like, the print's murky. And it's like, yes, I mean, we're in an era where we're seeing very obscure films, way more obscure than this one, get these glorious releases, which is awesome. But, you know, can we get this one? I mean, you know, especially because I think Stacy Keach is still with us, right?
Yeah. Like
thank God.
81.
Don Stroud is too.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Get Don Stroud. But we still have, I mean, I wish Susan was still with us, but also like, yeah, like, come on, let's get a nice Blu-ray of this film. Let's get this puppy kind of buffed up.
The file I watched, I don't know if this is the same one that's on YouTube, but it was clearly something that had been originally cropped for TV and then cropped again to be widescreen.
Mm-hmm. It's real bad. It's rough. I mean, it's again, to Heather's point, like it's the best with what we've got. And here's the crazy thing, Cullen. This is actually a callback. Do you remember when you programmed a month a couple years ago and you picked The Kill Off?
Yep.
This is that exact same. This is a much better movie by like leaps and bounds. Like I feel personally, I get if it's not your cup of tea in that regard, better or worse. But in regards to availability and quality of the version that we're watching, I didn't have any sort of like knock against this movie in that category. I didn't like hold that against this movie because like, again, like in a lot of ways we have to deal with what we have at the time. But to Heather's point, like we're in 2023, like stream fucking everything, frankly. This movie I think deserves to be lauded just as much as The Kill Off does, because like Jim Thompson's stuff is few and far between in terms of quality. Again, with the Killer Inside Me being adapted twice. The second one is so bad. The first one deserves to be reappraised just on the fact that we're probably not getting another readaptation anytime soon. This is such a better version that it would be nice if Kino or Arrow or Shout Factory or Scream Factory or, Five Nights at Freddy's fucking Fazbear Factory or whatever, because there's a new one every week. I mean, these are constantly existing. What's the name of the one that did Mahakal, the Indian Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Oh, that's Massacre Video.
Yeah. Like, again, like there are so many at this point. It's like, how does something like this not get some attention? And it's directed by Burt Kennedy, the director of Suburban Commando.
Oh my God. I am so glad
the best piece of trivia.
That.
Oh. Speaking of Jim Thompson movies that thankfully have gotten more, easier to see. Serie Noir, the adaptation of Hell of a Woman, was never on video or DVD. And then I think last year, Film Movement put out a Blu-ray of it.
Oh, I need to get that because I saw the trailer for that while prepping for this episode, and that looks fire.
Oh,
that looks so good.
That movie's amazing. So Film Movement put out in 2020. April 2020. But that like, every year or two that would play in New York in a 35 print in one screening, and it would always have a ton of people at it because it was like a lot of word of mouth. It was like there's no other way to see it unless you can find a bootleg video. Hopefully it'll continue to come to the city as a print, but for the rest of the country in the world, like there's now a beautiful Blu-ray.
Yeah, that restoration looks gorgeous too. Like that's something I would love to see for this film. Like it's it's so weird, just like, and I mean, who knows? I know there was like some rights issues because it's like according. I pull up my notes. I believe it might have been on AFI's write-up of this movie on their website, but Warner Brothers originally had acquired the film rights for the book in '68. But I know by the time this film came out, it looks like it was released by MGM. And MGM, so I don't know if it's like, maybe it's a thing where that's the thing is some of these studios, they have like lesser known titles that they just kind of sit on and just let them languish. But I don't know, maybe those rights have lapsed at this point. It's hard to tell. And I'm not the best when it comes to legality with these things. Cause I'm just very like the side of my brain that's like, is it right brain that is all art and creativity and the left brain's technical, or is it the other way around?
I have no idea.
I don't either. Whichever one that's like not good with technical shit, that's me. That is my brain. That is my entire brain. But I don't know. It would be nice. And especially because, I mean, there's certain cult titles that have, that it's like, okay, there's certain films we know we're never going to like, they're not in danger of going out of print anytime soon. It's like, yeah, I love Evil Dead, but I think we're safe to have a great copy of Evil Dead at this point, and that's awesome. That's wonderful, not complain, but it's like, why isn't this? I mean, there's so many movies like that. I mean, granted, something's better than nothing. I remember actually sharing a copy of Roger Watkins' American Babylon with a friend of mine, and he couldn't finish it because he was like, oh, the print's not good. And it's like, but this is all we have. And I mean, you could make out what was going on. It wasn't like a 10th generation dupe. It's just like, it's obviously ripped from a VHS tape that was moderately taken care of. I mean, sometimes that's the best you can get, but so many films are coming out, which is wonderful. Like, of course I say this, I can't even afford keeping up. I feel like at this point we have to take out loans just to keep up with all the great stuff coming out from all the boutiques, for all the boutique labels. It's a
wealth of riches. Like there's just,
it's awesome.
And that's why I say like so many of these things, it's like, I kind of find it hard to believe that they won't get a release at some point, because again, like, I don't know. I feel like with the amount of content coming out and the amount of things being adapted just in general, and the amount of authors whose things haven't been adapted enough or, kind of taken and milked dry, Jim Thompson's stuff's already been adapted. So it's already 2/3 of the way there. Like your stuff's already been done, which means the door's already open. It's just whether or not people want to go through it again. So I don't know, like the thing that does, strike me as kind of odd is this didn't get any sort of reappraisal when the 2010 movie came out. Like this didn't already get a Blu-ray or something. Because again, like that would have been the time, would have been when the remake came out. It's like, oh, see the original and then see the remake. I mean, again, like I don't think they advertised the remake for shit anyways. I don't think they knew what to do with that movie. But in a lot of ways, like I don't think they know now what to do with this movie other than let it languish in a vault somewhere, just literally sitting there. Because that's literally what's going on, right? It's just sitting in their Warner Brothers or MGM or whoever has its vault. A print of it, hopefully, is just existing, which is what they would hopefully use to remaster this. Because yeah, again, just like the kill off, it's like Jim Thompson. This is like these things exist. Somebody cares, not just Cullen, not just me, not just you, Heather. There are plenty of other people that like Jim Thompson's writing and want to see other people's takes on it.
Absolutely. Well, and especially because it's, even separate from the literary connection, I think this is a really fascinating entry in the whole 1970s sort of subgenre of, crime, like criminal psychology type movies. The 70s to me, like when I think of films that, whether it's, which I mean, you could call this a horror movie. What's more horrific than a serial killer? But I don't think people call it that. It's almost like it's more respectable, so we'll call it a crime movie. It's like Silence of the Lambs. Oh, it's a thriller. It's like, I think you can call it a horror movie. It's fine. You're fine. Okay. But
horror movies don't win Oscars, Heather. We all know this. Come on.
Fuck the Oscars.
Come on.
No, but the 70s had like such a great, because I think as a, people being able to push the boundaries of what we could show in film, like you had, the R-rated expanded, the X rating before it became triple X. And so you get films like The Candy Snatchers and The Killer Inside Me. And to me, it's just like such a fascinating era. The Psychopath, aka An Eye for an Eye, which is another film that is in dire need of a great release. Which is about a kid's show who ends up murdering abusive parents. And it's a great movie. I wrote about it years ago for Dangerous Minds. And that's one, goodness, I would kill to have that on even just a DVD. Just it needs to be restored and put out there. But yeah, I mean, I think The Killer Inside Me makes a great pairing with any of those. It's it's not a perfect movie, but I don't think it deserves some of the negative reviews that I've read. Sometimes when people are like, "Oh, this movie isn't good" or "It sucks," I'm like, "Have you seen bad movies?" Like, 'cause I feel like if you're into cinema, we've all seen movies that were way like
the remake. I mean, I can't even understand watching this movie and knowing that the remake exists and then going, well, I'm going to go watch that movie. And then going this is a perfectly serviceable adaptation of the book.
This was like my fourth or fifth viewing, and each one I like it more and more. And
it doesn't go far enough, right? Like it just doesn't go, honestly, like we haven't really talked about it, but you kind of brought it up. Like the violence isn't enough. It should be more. This movie is like R-rated. Is it not? Like is it R-rated?
I'm fine with I'm fine with the violence, like with the level it is. Like I don't think it's necessary.
Really?
I don't.
I mean, I just kind of feel like maybe there should have been a little. I feel like some of the impactful moments kind of just happen, like the thing with Amy where she just gets like One Punch Man out of existence,
and not even like as big of a punch. Like at least with Chris, we sound terrible. We sound like monsters, don't we? I'm like, but we want to see
it's a narrative. It's a narrative thing for me, where it's just like I don't know, like for me again. Maybe it's just what I want from the book is a little bit different than what Burt Kennedy and Ed Mann and Robert Chambly were wanting to give us from the book. And that's the thing. Like, again, that's what, I mean, I don't like Salinger as a person, but in a lot of ways, I agree with Salinger's idea that like adapting things kind of ruins them in a lot of ways, and not ruins them, but it plants that seed in your head of what somebody else's adaptation is, and that can kind of disrupt the flow of your own ability to conjure it up in your brain and see who you think would be, or conjure up those characters, how they feel to you. So I agree with Salinger in that way, because there are things in this adaptation that when I think about my version of it or what I would want, it's not the same. And again, that's more a me issue, not this movie issue. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think this movie is really good, frankly, for what it is, and the like level of competency behind the camera too, because it's William A. Fraker, who's no slouch. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's no slouch. Just to say he's no slouch is like, oh yeah, you mean the guy who was behind the camera for such classics as Tombstone? Yeah. Or the oft maligned Vegas Vacation, the best of the vacation movies. That's a hot take nobody needed, but
actually, I think the hottest take would be Christmas Vacation 2. That's.
Oh my God, do you like that movie?
No, I'm just saying if somebody was going to have a hot take.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. I was like, are you coming out with this hot take?
No. Oh, Christ,
Randy Quaid returns in the role you've always wanted him in.
No, and I love Randy Quaid before he lost his mind. Like, Randy Quaid was a great actor, but no.
What if Randy Quaid always had lost it? What if it was always lost his mind?
I wonder that. Oh, sorry, Colin.
No. Finish your thought, and I'll have a Randy Quaid question for you.
Quaidism.
I have the same thought about a number of actors, because it's like when I watch a James Woods movie from the 80s, I'm like, man, James Wood is like such a great actor. And he was legit, like, he's a great actor. But now I'm like, you know what? He probably always was a piece of shit. But I mean, that's the thing. That's the fascinating thing about humanity, is that people can be terrible people, but still do something that's really amazing, which is kind of beautiful in a really twisted way.
It's oddly poetic.
Yes, but Colin, I want to hear your Randy Quaid thing.
So speaking of adaptations and things that are hard to find, a movie I've been wanting to see for years is the late 80s adaptation of Frederick Brown's novel Martians Go Home, starring Randy Quaid. And I think I finally found, like, on YouTube, like a VHS rip.
Thank you for wanting to see this, by the way. I saw like the info on Wikipedia for this movie, and it looked wild. And I hadn't looked any further into it. So I'm glad to know that it's like somewhat lost media, and maybe you want to do an episode on it. Because it looked cuckoo bananas. Like,
if you ever want to, please let me know. So the book, because I don't know if how well the movie, adheres to it, but the premise of the original novel is, what if Martians invaded Earth, but instead of terrorizing us, they just stood in the corner watching us go about our normal everyday activities and then laughing at us because we're fucking stupid morons. But then when we try to chase them, they can like disappear through walls. So Martians just come and troll. That's all they do. And it's the funniest book. I love Frederick Brown so much. And there's a guy, are you all fans of his?
I know one of the things he wrote was he wrote the Arena episode of Star Trek, which is, I mean, if you're gonna reference a Star Trek episode, right? Like that's a pretty good one, obviously.
Yeah. So Brown's interesting because he has three concurrent careers doing mystery, sort of horror-ish mystery and sci-fi. For his crime novels, one of them was The Screaming Mimi, which became not only the Screaming Mimi movie, but that's what Argento adapted uncredited for Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I'm getting funny looks from you, Chris.
I have and you're.
Anyway, Frederick Brown is great. Very wacky, sense of humor, very dark for the crime novels. His sci-fi could sometimes be very funny.
We'll have to watch it because I saw some stuff and I was like, what the fuck is this movie? I love Randy Quaid, but that's because of Freak, because Elijah C. Scuggs is my spirit animal.
Oh my God.
Fiddle.
I love Freak so much too.
That's a great movie.
Yeah. Talk about chef's kiss. Like that's, oh God. It's a good movie, but Randy Quaid just like he makes it. Like he just, there's nothing about that performance that is something you've ever seen before or since. It's so fucking weird, and he's perfect.
It's masterful. What's funny? I've never seen Martians Go Home, but I vividly remember the cover art for the VHS tape because one of the video stores I frequented as a kid had it in the comedy section, and I was always like, that looks terrible.
I mean,
it looks so goofy. Like you're describing the book you're describing sounds great. Like it sounds, like completely up my alley as far as reading. So you guys have to let me know. I'm curious about the movie. When I think of right.
Yeah, Randy Quaid opening his
No, a VH like a movie that is definitely like a cult movie dealing with aliens from the 80s. I would like to see that has no DVD or Blu-ray released is Euphoria. It's spelled like UFO Oria with Cindy Williams. And because everything I've ever read about that sounds really quirky and charming, and I've always wanted to see it.
It played here in New York, I think a couple times recently, and I missed it. And it's on my list of things to track down.
Same. So if any boutique labels are listening, we've given you guys a few suggestions. And also there's some lovely people on here that would do a great job giving you supplements.
True.
Wink, especially Colin with the publishing and literary knowledge. Like I love hearing that because I love reading, and it's something I don't make enough time to do as an adult, as a writer, ironically enough. But yeah, like that's so yeah. Anyways, you're welcome, labels. So, wink.
And if not The Killer Inside Me, at least Suburban Commando.
Come on, Criterion.
At the barest minimum, a Burt Kennedy film, folks. Come on.
Criterion, you're welcome. Come on.
I'm surprised Kino hasn't done Suburban Commando. That seems very in line with a lot of their releases and I fully support that aspect of them.
I mean, it has Shelley Duvall, Chris Lloyd, Terry Bollea. His Christian name.
What you know what that means? Brother Brutai is somewhere in that cast.
And Undertaker's in that movie as well.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, Boogie Red is in that movie.
Oh my god,
it's a nightmare. It was an early podcast that I did for this show was Suburban Commando, and that I love that movie. I had a VHS of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze that had some commercials on it. One was for Burger King Kids Club. One was for a movie called Big Girls Don't Cry, They Get Even, which I covered with Mike White a couple years ago. It's terrible. And then I
saw that back when it came out.
Yeah, that movie's shit. And it has Griffin Dunn in it too, which is a real bummer. And David Strathairn as well. It's not. The trailer makes it look fun, and Cullen, you would agree it is not a fun film.
I have no memory of this movie other than I know I saw it when it came out.
I mean, I feel like that gives you all enough you need to know. But there was also an ad for Suburban Commando, and I just remember seeing the ad, and I finally watched the movie as an adult, and oh boy,
worth the wait.
Seen it? Have you ever seen it, Heather?
No.
I've just seen clips of it. I think didn't you play me?
Yeah, I Was Frozen Today is a great one. And then, I don't know, Hulk Hogan in that movie is great. I'm
trying to think, what was the action scene you played for me where they were on a stairwell and a guy, he throws a guy off a stairwell and it's got this music attached to it that's really...
It might be Suburban Commando.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's just weird that it's like a Burt Kennedy movie, the guy who directed this, and also, but not limited to, Dirty Dingus McGee.
I like that movie. I got a poster of it somewhere in my apartment.
Oh, wait. I just like the name, Dirty Dingus McGee.
I think I've called somebody that before.
Yeah, featuring Frank Sinatra as a cowboy.
There you go. Yeah, but real quick though, I do have to touch upon with the 76 Killer Inside Me. One thing I wish I would change, and you guys may disagree with me, and that's fine because I've saw some people note in their reviews that they loved this. I did not like the soundtrack. It's not a deal breaker. I still think the movie's great. But I remember seeing somebody said, oh, this movie feels a little TV movie of the week. And it doesn't. The movie doesn't at all. But the music does, in my opinion. The music's very I don't know, Up Next on 8 is Enough. I don't know. It just feels like that to me is the most dated thing about this movie is the soundtrack. I didn't care for it. But what did you guys think? I could be completely talking out of my bootay as opposed to Brother Bootay.
Listen here, Brother Bootay.
I did like the score, but I especially love the final music cue when Lou Ford is outside in the rain and he makes eye contact with Joyce in the police car, and then all of a sudden the brothel jazz music kicks in and he's slowly approaching. It's just a little not the most obvious, or it's a little I'm forgetting how to speak English right now. It's a bit of a contrast, but I really liked it. I just was so into it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting into his mind. He's getting his groove on. He's getting a little horny. He's getting a little horny to kill.
Oh my god!
Great name for a band, Horny to Kill.
Horny Kill.
I would
Horny
go
Kill.
I would go see that. I would go see that band. You should start that.
Horny Kill or Horny to Kill?
Both.
I think wasn't Horny to Kill like wasn't it on Cinemax with Shannon Tweed and the
Or conversely, To Kill Horny? Question mark?
Is that like Too Legit to Quit?
That's like Death to Smoochie. To Kill Horny?
Oh,
but it's a question.
I love the question mark.
I think the soundtrack is indicative of someone who works in TV, right? Because if you look at John Rubinstein, he's worked in plenty of TV. So, like, I don't know, like those two together kind of bring like a TV sensibility. I don't know. It's kind of in contrast because it feels like it's trying to still be like, oh, well, he's the good guy, but it's like it's obvious that he's not. And like, yeah. I don't know. It didn't get in the way for me, but I wish it had maybe, I don't know. I get where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And like, it's not a deal breaker, but I feel like it's a small element, but one of the elements that keeps this film from being, you know, like a full on kind of masterpiece. It's still a great film, but I feel, you know, I don't know. It could have been even better. But you know what? A really great film is still a really great film. And it's better than Casey Affleck. Like
anything's better than Casey
Affleck in a fucking cowboy hat. I can't.
Yeehaw, everybody.
I cannot have an Affleck. No.
I recently watched the film Fire in the Sky, which is about the Travis Walton abduction, which took place in the 70s in Arizona.
Another one I saw back when it came out that I don't really remember. Other than that, I saw it.
I remember the abduction scene in that because I woke up to that as a kid and it freaked me out because my mother and he's my pappy now, but my stepfather, who was just then my mother's boyfriend, had rented it. And I fell asleep on the couch, like kind of behind them. And I woke up during that abduction when the aliens are testing him on that. And there's like slime and shit. And I'm like 12 and I was like, oh, like, what the fuck? Scared me.
So I mentioned that because in that movie, they have Peter Berg doing a Southern accent. And it is...
I forgot. Well, see, I slept during that part.
Yeah.
Unless he was like, no, don't do that to me.
It's real. It's real. It's real bad. And so Casey Affleck trying to do a Southern accent smacks of that. It is very like the whole like talking soft and slow, like fuck you. Fuck. That's creepy. Like you're already painting a picture for us that is not part of the book's makeup. And that's the thing that Burt Kennedy withholds smartly in this is like he lets Stacy Keach do the work, and Stacy Keach in doing that work does a better job than Casey Affleck ever could because Casey Affleck's already a creep. And I'm not talking about him as a person, allegedly. I'm talking about that affectation that he comes up with for the character of Lou Ford, which is this bullshit. And it's like, and then Stacy Keach's Lou Ford is just a shitheel. Like he's just a fucking shitheel. And like that's the intent of the character. And Casey Affleck doesn't seem like a guy putting on a facade. He just seems like that guy. Stacy Keach as Lou Ford is putting on a facade. And it drops right at the end. In the finale that, again, I still think works better in the book, but this is a good compromise.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, Affleck doesn't have gravitas. Like, that's the thing is that you, especially when you're adapting a work like A Killer Inside Me, something that heavy, you need actors that have that gravitas to them, you know? And that's the thing this cast does. I mean, Keenan Wynn, even John Carradine, who's in this for like 5 minutes, like you're getting people that have a natural sort of like pull about them as an actor, as a presence. Like it's not just that, they're, you know, that's why I love character actors so much in general, is because, you know, they're able to flesh anything out and add something special. And they're never bland, but in a world where all the characters do kind of ring true, like they do in the Thompson novel. It's so important to have a great cast that have that natural pull to them, and they do. And it was so nice to see, because I think the last thing I saw Keenan win in was The Dark, and which isn't that great, but like there's a line where he says something about your pants, and the like hearing Keenan Wynn talk about a woman's pants has haunted me. So this was a great kind of like mouthwash to kind of get that out of my brain for a little bit. And he was great. I mean, it's Keenan Wynn. Chris is great. But yeah, as Conway, I thought that was casting. I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
He's a good old boy real well. That kind of good old boy.
Ugh, the total nut swinging kind. The kind that says, like, is it just going to be you girls doing this? Like, and that's me doing a bad Southern accent.
Get back in the kitchen and I'll tell you when to come out.
Whoa! You know, weirdly enough, I don't know if you know this, Colin, Chris said that to me on our second episode.
Yeah, it was among many things. It was like, Steven Seagal eating corn dog, get their ass back in the goddamn kitchen.
And anytime I make a hot take, Chris just shakes his head, and his inner Texan comes out, and he's like, Heather,
saddle on up, go on out, saddle on up, and get on out of here.
I don't see no babies on that floor.
Right where you dropping out. Man, the South loves to be a punching bag, don't they?
Well, yeah, if you live in the South, you have to joke about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Georgia.
See, so you feel it. You got out, though. Good for you. And Chris got out.
They do it to themselves. Yeah, but you mentioned it, though. There's this weird subtext of the killer inside me, and you kind of mentioned it, Cullen, where it's like, or I guess Heather, and both of you kind of touched on it. This idea of like the South is just different. And Thompson captures that in the book really well, where it's like everybody's kind of just in everybody else's business all the time, and everybody knows everybody and everybody knows everything. And that is not the way it is a lot of places. But like where I live now in the Midwest, it still has that feel to it. So the facade that he's putting on, that Lou Ford is putting on, it's believable because I know people like this. Mm-hmm. Like the facade part, I know people like this. Whether or not there's a killer inside them is a different question. I don't think there is, obviously, or I fucking hope not.
No shit.
Right? But like that is the subtextual thing about this. It's like if you live somewhere like this where plenty of people are like this, that's the really scary part. That's the really horrifying part. That's the real kind of message that Jim Thompson's getting at. It's like it could be anybody.
Your friendly neighborhood police officer that's you're supposed to be able to look up to and trust. And I mean, the ironies throughout the book, a couple of times, people keep coming to him to do illegal things. And at least at one point he says, well, no, I'm not going to do that because that would be wrong.
There's some really like super, super, super dark humor in the book. I've noticed some moments like that where it's just like, what the fuck? It's so good. Yeah.
I love Thompson's humor. Have you all read The Golden Gizmo?
No, but it's on my list. I'm like, I'm now like, I have to read everything Thompson. Like, I'm so fully converted right now.
I really want to reread it. I remember loving it. I've only read it once, but it has a talking dog in one scene.
Yes.
And it's a book that I don't hear Thompson fans talk about it. And if it does get mentioned, it's usually like, oh, it's a lesser work. And I'm like, it's Jim Thompson writing about a fucking talking dog. Like, how could you not love that? Like, if you like Thompson, like it's...
Also, do you not like fun? Come on.
And it's not a main character. It's not like you're going to be watching Best Friend from Heaven, the Christopherson movie. But I think it's in a couple scenes. But anyway, I just remember it being a really bonkers, surreal, nutty Jim Thompson crime story. And I'm like, it's everything you like about Thompson. I give a plug for The Golden Gizmo.
And then the dog clocks a woman across the face.
I don't remember. Does that happen?
I don't know. Just hard.
I think this is. And then he said, "Where's my beer, woman?"
Well, I don't know. He would say whatever Lou Ford would say. It just clocks her real hard, punches her. The way Lou Ford likes. Ugh,
yeah.
Boy. I love Jim Thompson. I'm so glad, Cullen, that you have turned me on to now 2 of his movies. Because again, in the interim time between The Kill Off and now, I read The Killer Inside Me, which. Again, like we've kind of repeated here, like, I don't know, Cullen, I kind of wanted to ask you this to end this episode because I think you're the one to ask. if someone is getting into reading Jim Thompson or wants the easy on-road and then maybe the intermediate on-road, what are we talking? The Killer Inside Me, or is there something else that maybe speaks to Jim Thompson as an author?
I mean, that's up there. Pop 1280. It's another, sort of sheriff, westerny law enforcement, dark, twisted murder story. Hell of a Woman I would put up there, which is about a sleazy door-to-door salesman who goes to a house, and I think the woman who runs it wants to buy some silverware and doesn't have any money, but she's like, I have like a 14-year-old daughter, and he's like, all right. And then he meets the daughter, and she's like, there's a bunch of money in the basement. So he's like, cool, you and I gotta team up to kill your mom. And 14-year-old and a sleazy salesman trying to kill a mom to steal her safe. That's
Sarrier Noir, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah, and Pop 1280 was adapted as Coup de Torchon.
The French just have a better grasp of adapting Jim Thompson than the Americans. Is that what's going on here?
I think so.
Kind of seems like it.
It's so crazy, and I find it fascinating when European countries or filmmakers are so drawn to these extremely American, because Thompson's super American. Look at Bukowski. There's been a number of almost every Bukowski film adaptation is made by somebody from Europe. I mean, the best Bukowski adaptation is Barfly, and that's Barbet Schroeder.
Mm-hmm.
Or Schrader. Is it Schroeder or Schrader? Is it?
I know how to spell it.
I know how to spell it.
I've always said Schrader, but I've never. I don't know.
I can spell it as well. Anyways, if anybody gives me guff, you know what? At least I know who he is.
Great filmmaker.
Yes, great filmmaker, and Barfly's a masterpiece.
Love that movie. He's got such an interesting filmography. It's like many sort of like unexpected turns, and they're all, whenever he makes a turn, it's like, that's good.
I mean, he made a documentary about Idi Amin.
Yeah.
And Barfly. Just love Barbet.
I was going to be, he worked on all those Eric Romer movies. Then didn't he do one of the 90s Sandra Bullock movies?
That sounds so familiar. I'm trying to.
Which one was it? Murder by Numbers.
Shit, that's right.
That movie's not bad. That movie's not bad. It's got not Michael Shannon. What's that kid? The kid from Hannibal and Boardwalk Empire, who's like Michael Pitt, the guy who's like really allegedly hard to work with.
Good actor though.
I mean, Gnosis from fucking Hedwig.
Yeah, and better than Casey Affleck.
He could be good. He kind of has that energy to him. Michael Pitt. I mean, he has that kind of like far away. It would be a different take on Lou Ford, but it wouldn't be an unwelcome interpretation. Kind of has like an interesting look to him just right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too Casey Affleck. I don't know. I mean, again, to be fair, I still think John Goodman would be a good Lou Ford as well. Again, different direction though.
Michael Pitt as Elmer. There we go.
Oh, wow. Like, Elmer's so pretty now. Actually, John Goodman, no. That's hitting me more and more. And I did picture John Goodman as one of the characters while reading it. But I pictured him as Conway. He was my Conway. Like, every time I read fiction, because I have a film brain, that's always have how would I make this movie? And, but John Goodman is so good at being like the most lovable dude and also being the most terrifying.
Right.
SOB you could ever be in a room with.
He's physically imposing, 6'2" or something. He's a big dude too. You feel like he punch you and you will. That's the thing. Stacy Keach one punching someone, it's believable because he's a big dude. You get punched by this guy. You're probably also not getting up because you also don't want to get punched again.
If we were to go back to 1952, what about Mitchum as Ford?
Oh, sure.
I love Mitchum.
That's perfect, right? That's the perfect casting.
I feel like he could do the cornball hokum, kind of insincere. So when people listening are just like, is this guy for real saying this cornball bullshit, but also be scary and he's very tall?
Well, I'm going to ask y'all, would you cast the movie based on the facade or the serial killer part? Because for me, I'm casting it based off of the facade, essentially 100%. You have to have someone to land that facade way harder because the serial killer bit's easy to do realistically. Like, oh, just say weird shit, but like in a slow cadence. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's there's a lot. It's an easier direction to go. It's hard to be effortlessly charming.
But that's the point of the book. He's the podunk sheriff, deputy. Like he has to be the nice guy. Like you can't have the scary sheriff.
Right. It's Deputy Dewey from Scream. I mean, again,
now there's a casting. I want Dave Sheridan as. Oh wait, no, that was from Scary Movie.
I mean, that would be also equally as funny.
I do love Dave Sheridan.
I mean, David Arquette I'm a
David Arquette mark.
I like David Arquette.
I love
honestly,
David
Arquette, again, basing it solely off of like that kind of energy. Again, like you have to have a guy who's a believable dope to be able to have that turn where it's like, he's not a fucking dope though. He's a monster, like a total fucking monster. And I don't know, John Goodman, when I was reading the book, I was like, this is John Goodman. Like totally just this like, well, I've got this dark, horrible secret inside of me, but hey, you think I'm a nice guy, but it peeks through. You got to have that ability to like let it peek through without letting it out completely. But again, I get the sense in the book that everybody around him is not as fooled as he thinks they are.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Especially as it goes, when you get to the end or towards the end, especially when it all just really unravels, it's like,
It's
even
like,
Johnny.
I didn't like, yeah, everybody knew.
Johnny's like, yeah, I didn't want to, you don't get paid much, Lou. Just wanted to, let you figure out where you got the money. I can't blame you,
Oh man.
And I like that we don't see them realize, like, or I guess him realizing it. Like it just happens. But like in a lesser narrative, it'd be like we would have the scene of the characters talking off screen. Oh, what Lou is up to. In the book, they don't have any of it. In the other narratives, they've kind of had to pad that out so that we see those scenes. But the book is so smart in that it just kind of happened. And Lou, we are as kind of surprised as Lou is because, again, with an unreliable narrator, we're being led to believe he is perfect at what he's doing because that's his high esteem of himself, is that he's able to, pull a Dexter, really. Because, again, that's what we're talking about here, is like fooling everybody. And you're not fooling anyone, bro. Apparently.
Well, that's always what gets you caught too, is that, you get cocky. That's God, I sound creepy saying that. I'm sorry. I don't mean it like I don't mean it in a creepy way.
And then you send your floppy disk to the cops, and then they find you, and then they take you to jail. I mean, that's what happened to BTK. He's like, "Can I send you guys a floppy disk? Let my hubris get in the way of good common sense here, because the FBI can trace your floppy disks." But people like that act that way. You're totally right. Like that is believable for him to just have inability to separate the id from the ego. Right? It's like I'm perfect at everything. Which again, like you mentioned so many times, Cullen, like even nobody has captured that part of it very well. And I think it's a really hard thing to capture convincingly because, again, like that's not present in the novel. It's something they would have to kind of create for a adaptation to fill in those gaps for an audience that hasn't read the book. And nobody's done it well yet. And again, I think this is something that could be readapted and should be readapted by somebody who does it in a longer form narrative.
Andy Griffith. I just want to say, if we're going to the 50s, Andy Griffith would make a great Lou Ford.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah. Just trading off of the meta casting, right?
Well, not just because of the Andy Griffith show, but like a face in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Like Griffith can play dark. Like he didn't get to do it too often, but also when people think of like some likable kind of hillbilly sheriff, who do they think of?
Don Knotts.
Oh, I love Don Knotts. Fucking Don Knotts.
Oh my God.
That's my favorite line in Serial Mom, is the guy at the flea market finds a velvet Don Knotts painting and he goes, fucking Don Knotts. And I would have the same reaction if I found a painting in the wild of Don Knotts.
Mr. Limpet, come on.
I would buy that.
Mr. Limpet as Lou Ford. Is that believable?
100%.
Don Knotts standing over you after beating the shit out of you.
Oh, well, I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
Things I never knew I was horrified of. Don Knotts murdering me.
I'm going to make a fake cover of Killer Inside Me with Don Knotts for you, Chris.
You're welcome.
That
This
needs to
most
be the
terrifying
episode.
monster is inside.
That's going to be the episode thumbnail right there.
So before we end at some point, I did just want to give a quick plug for a Thompson adaptation that we haven't talked about yet. This World and the Fireworks. Have you all seen that one?
No.
So it's from 97. I'm just going to read the cast. Billy Zane,
Okay.
Gina Gershon,
Yes.
Cheryl Lee, Rue
Oh.
McClanahan, Seymour Cassell.
What? Oh my God. We need to do this as an episode. Holy
And Will
shit.
Patton.
It's good. It's one of my favorite of the American adaptations of his work, and it's not as well regarded as it should be.
Oh, I'm sold.
Fucking Billy Zane. Billy Zane's a cool
I love
dude.
Billy Zane. I love
He's
him.
great.
He is the Demon Knight.
Was that podunk there, motherfuckers?
Thank you. Oh my God. He's the best part of that fucking movie, other than all the other good things that aren't named Jada Pinkett Smith, because she's terrible in that movie. I'd just like to point that out for no particular reason at all.
Oh, but forget her. William Sadler.
I know.
Is it
CCH Pounder.
Love
The only
her.
actress whose name sounds like a sandwich, CCH Pounder.
It does. It does. Charles Fleischer.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. John Kassir as the voice of the Crypt Keeper doesn't get enough credit, really. And Dick Miller's in that movie. I mean, if Dick Miller's in your film, like, come on.
Isn't Zane like basically playing like Hunter S. Thompson in that dream sequence where he's seducing the Dick Miller character? He's like, talk about a long and hard one, Willie. And he's got like the little cigarette and the hat. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I want a Hunter S. Thompson adaptation with Billy Zane.
Billy Zane's great. I like Billy Zane. So you already got my interest, Cullen. You piqued my interest when you said Billy
100%.
Zane. Though to his friends, he's William. William Zane. God.
I have a bucket list now.
So Cullen, final thoughts on The Killer Inside Me.
I think it's a good movie. I think it's worth revisiting.
You should have just left it at that.
What?
The initial, it's like you should have left it at that and just been like, "What? I'm done."
No, I think we've had a great conversation that's, talked about the different aspects of the movie, and I think it's a terrific adaptation. I think it deserves a better reputation, deserves a better print. Hopefully this podcast will help elevate its position.
Heather.
The book's a masterpiece, and if you love great writing, you should read it. What's stopping you? Nothing. It's in print. Unlike this movie, unfortunately, but the 1976 adaptation, I think, is if somebody hasn't gathered already, I think it's a fascinating viewing. I think it has a great cast, and yeah, like Colin said, this needs to be treated more, with a lot more respect and love, and put back out there in the wild in a beautiful, legal, physical media and streaming format. So that's what I think.
I totally agree. I mean, again, this echoing the last time a Jim Thompson adaptation was on this podcast, that this deserves a better print, just like The Kill-Off did. And this is, again, to call a movie where a man murders women and other men with wanton abandon fun, as much as we can call it fun, I would say that this movie is a fun watch, and Stacy Keach and Susan Tyrrell make it so. I think they're both really good performances from two really good actors, obviously. So two really good character actors who turned in fantastic performances here and elsewhere. But ultimately, I mean, again, there are some issues with trying to find this movie maybe never getting a permanent release. So again, who knows? But hopefully, like anything else, we do from time to time get wishes bestowed upon us from the streaming and physical release gods. So like we've said already, crazier things have been released on streaming platforms and Kino and everybody else. So who knows? Maybe stranger things have happened. So on that note, we'll take a break and we'll play a TV spot for the next Kulturecast.
Sex, crime.
The world we are preparing, Winston, is a constant victory, a constant triumph. You are beginning to accept it. You will soon welcome it. And finally, become part of it.
Hey,
1949, George Orwell had a vision of the future. Today, that vision is still a best-selling novel, and his prophecy remains as terrifying as ever.
If you want a vision of the future, Winston, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
A future where freedom becomes slavery, where privacy is forbidden, the past forgotten, and where living people simply vanish. Yet one man and one woman dare to love.
Can you get Sunday afternoon off?
Yes.
Take this.
Everyone knows. The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world.
We can't get inside you. We can't get to your heart.
John Hurt, Susanna Hamilton, Cyril Cusack, and Richard Burton in the crowning role of his career.
What are your true feelings towards Big Brother?
I hate him.
You must love him. It's not enough to obey him. You must love him.
The film of the book of the year. George Orwell's 1984.
That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about 1984, a movie that's happy, joy, super exciting and not depressing at all.
It's a great book. I haven't seen the adaptation that you guys will be talking about, but I'm looking forward to the episode and I need to watch it. I need for things to be better in the world, though, before I could go back to Orwell right now.
Understandable.
It'll probably be.
Sadly.
Yeah, it was a hard book to read last year. It was a rough one, to say the least. So I kind of programmed it and I was excited, but now I'm like, oh, this is fun, nice and depressing. So, I mean, it's not like this movie was, a fucking cheery old day at the fair. So,
That's going to be the other episode. We're going to actually, after 19th, we're going to do a cheery day at the fair.
Right. Was that a Marx Brothers movie? I don't know. It sounds like
it's the lost Marx Brothers movie.
Cheery day at the fair where they cornhole Chico for everyone to see.
Oh,
oof, boy, they were brothers.
Not anymore.
Until we watch 1984, and I'm joined by AJ Black of all people from the We Made This Podcast Network and writing and podcast hosting fame. Where can people find you, Cullen?
I'm not updating pulp-serenade.com like I should, but I've been working on music. I will be on the West Coast at the end of May with 8 Hour Animal playing some industrial music. And then I should hopefully have a couple of my hardcore band's albums come out this spring and early summer. Demoted. So it's this Demoted band. I think at Bandcamp, there's someone else with the same name, but we both started at the same time. I think we were first, but we're not going to.
We know you, so we like you. So listen to Cullen's band. Maybe you're both great, Well, let's not pit people against one another, right?
There's enough room for two Demoteds in this world.
Double secret demoted.
We're all demoted.
Right.
Aww.
Boy, isn't that the truth. Heather, what about you? Where can people find you on the internet if they were looking to track you down?
Well, it depends on what kind of tracking they're wanting to do, or wanting to do. They can find me, of course, my website, montoheather.com. I also recently did a little tribute article in entrance into the world of Tinto Brass. You can read that over on Arrow Films website on their film blog. And so if you love Tinto Brass, if you're like, who's that crazy guy? Go to Arrow Films website and read that. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram and Patreon under @MontoHeather.
And as for me, weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can find all the things that I work on, including but not limited to this Bollywood Cinema Club, which both of y'alls have been on before. Cullen was on the first episode. So, I do have to give Cullen some credit for being like, you need to do this, man. I remember you just said it to me so clearly. Like, you were like, you have to do this. So, and I was like, well, you're going to be on the first episode. And it happened. And it's there. And you can find it at BollywoodCinemaClub.com. But more importantly, you can find other shows like Twisted and Uncorked, which is two women that are much funnier than me, which is not hard. It's actually very easy. And Mike White's The Projection Booth, because, let's be honest here. You come for the Mike White, but you stay for all the other fun things, because everybody's coming for Mike White, if you know what I mean.
that took me a second, but that's a good one.
That's why Mike wears a lot of rain gear.
Yeah. Plastic sheets, folks.
It's like Gallagher up in here.
As for me, I don't know where you can find me on all those podcasts and with rubber sheets somewhere in the Midwest. As for this show, Kulturecast.com, Patreon.com, all those places you can go to help the show, but like, rate, and review wherever you get it. Because, every little bit helps us out and helps us find our audience and helps our audience find these conversations that we're having, because we're talking for a living. And don't you want to listen? Cullen, Heather, thank you both so much for joining me. It's fun, as always. It's like a, there's like a triangle over here of Cullen, Richard, and I. And there's a triangle over here of Heather, Father Malone, and I. And then this is like the third triangle of like the three of us. And see, it's fun. See?
You see?
You see?
You see? Yeah, I fully agree. I always feel like work, I don't know. It's just so easy and fun and happy. And I am always learning something new. Like, Cullen, you have expanded my knowledge. Oh. And Chris expands my knowledge all the time, too, in all kinds of ways. Which I love.
I mean, I feel the same about y'all.
And see, on that note, on that love fest, we'll catch you on the next episode.